Have you ever wanted to know how to truly awaken and unlock your psychic gifts? What exercises to do, how you receive them, and what to do with it? Then this video is for you. Let's go. How to develop your psychic gifts in 5 easy steps. And yes, psychic gifts, spiritual gifts, we all have them. And they come through our bodies in completely different ways. And all of us are as unique as our thumbprint in terms of how we receive information from the spirit world. And we often have blocks and barriers that we don't even know exist for our abilities to be able to receive. And so I'm going to talk about that today as well. Hi, I'm Tahverlee. I'm a high priestess, a practicing witch, and my most prevalent psychic gift is visual. So you might call this clairvoyant, although I'm not going to focus too much on the labels today, but clairvoyancy is clear seeing. And I see my gifts work in videos and pictures, usually in color, but it's almost like repeated still frames is how I receive information in my field. And I'm the founder of the Moon Temple Mystery School, and I want you to have access to your spiritual gifts. I want them to be turned on and in your control to where you get to decide if the dial goes up or the dial goes down. And you can create from the place of knowing. I love to give activations and lessons for everyone to be able to utilize their innate gifts, because this is innate. In fact, if you think of your intuition, which we've all had at some time in our life, our intuition has like plugged in and given us information, even if we weren't asking for it. I want you to consider intuition as the baseline, meaning it's innate, it's for everyone, and it often comes to us. It is possible for you to take your intuition and supercharge it in specific areas of how you receive. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the things that might be blocking you from proceeding in developing your psychic gifts. And the first thing is your belief, like your belief systems. What you've been conditioned to believe in your entire lifetime about psychics or about the spiritual realm, or that it's all witchcraft, because I'm specifically talking about psychic development today. This is not witchcraft. This is everyone's right, and everyone has the potential to develop their gifts. I'm not special as a psychic. But we've been often conditioned to believe that psychics are cuckoo or they're charlatans. That's a common one, right? That they're out to just take your money. And sure, there might be those out there that don't really practice their gifts. I would say it's more likely someone that if their psychic message to you doesn't land, that they have a filter or a lens between themselves and what they're delivering, which is very common. And I am going to talk about that at the end of this video. Because here's the thing, is that putting yourself out there for a living or for in a big public way as a psychic is very different than you using your psychic gifts for yourself and for your loved ones. And today we're talking about your gifts for you, for your own knowing, for your ability to create whatever it is that you want. So you have to recognize that your beliefs, this is the first block that might come up, is your beliefs and what you've been told to believe, or even Hollywood. Hollywood depicts, psychics and mediums as something totally different than what it is. So you have to look at your beliefs. Are they in line with what's possible for you? Or have you been carrying this conditioned belief that it's for only the select few, or that it's only, for witches, and if you close your eyes and you think hard enough, a spoon's gonna bend? Like all these things that aren't factually true. Number 2, another limiting belief that can come up for you, or a blocker, is fear. If you come to me and you say, I want to learn how to communicate and be a medium and communicate with spirits, but you're afraid to see dead people, then we've got a problem. It's fear, right? We can contain a lot of fear about our own power. It can almost feel fearful for people when you open up your spiritual gifts, that too much is going to come into your field, or, oh no, what if, demonic entities come in and I'm not protected? And honestly, that's so, so, so rare because you are in control, right? As the coveted human, spirits come to you and you can open up your field more and more and receive information even just as whispers or even just as nudges in your belly. You're not opening yourself up to, dark forces unless you're playing or working in those fields. In my opinion, it's very rare for people to experience dark entities unless you're doing that work as a shadow walker or going into the underworld often. So we have these irrational fears that honestly goes along with number one, which is what we've been conditioned to believe about psychics. So I would have you question, do you have fear? And the fear might even be, if I tap into my gifts and I turn them on and they tell me something that I know to be true, then what do I do with it? That's more often where the fear sits. That's more common. And number three, doubt. That you haven't yet developed a significant amount of trust in your own gifts and how they operate. And so you doubt everything that you receive as coincidence or just random happenstance or whatever excuse you come up with for it to be anything other than what it is. So question yourself if you have doubt, meaning, how can I develop more confidence here? How can I believe myself and trust myself? And if you have layers that are influencing your lens or layers that are impacting the way that you view the information, then do that work for sure. And again, I'll get into that at the end. And then number four, the final blocker I'm going to talk about is unrealistic expectations. If you think a 1 hour meditation or even just watching this video is going to open up the field and all of a sudden you're going to start hearing voices and smelling the smells of liars. And, it's not necessarily going to happen at that pace. Now it can. Random, spontaneous awakening of your gifts can happen with trauma, with anything that is very impactful in your life. Yes, that is possible. But it's more likely that you're going to put in time and practice, and it's going to slowly awaken to the level at which you are capable of receiving it. Most of the time, what stops us in developing our psychic gifts is us. And yes, you've all got them. Now, if this is already intriguing you and you're like, okay, I don't want any of those blockers, and I'm going to give you, actually I have 6 steps, 6 steps to put into practice today, like realistic, practical ways of developing your psychic gifts. I'm going to give you those today. But if you want to go deeper and actually do this work and have a place to practice and a place to ask questions, then you should join my program called Extraordinary. It is a fantastic community of others that are learning, that are growing. You get lots of live time one-on-one with me. You get breakout rooms to practice. You get exercises. You get the whole package of how to actually turn on, work with your psychic gifts. And the link will be in the notes of this video. All right, so I also want you to know that you are constantly going to be learning. It's so interesting to me in 2024, we're already seeing a lot of people's psychic gifts almost like flip on their head. Meaning if you were really good as a medium, but you didn't really have a lot of hearing or you didn't have your smell wasn't turned on, all of a sudden it is. Or vice versa. Maybe you were clear feeling and you just knew things in your gut and you didn't really do a lot of, work to develop it, but all of a sudden you're seeing shadows move in your house. Or you're seeing, changes in the energetic field around you and you know that there are spirits coming into your field. So in 2024, things are changing and there's always another level for me too. We're always, always learning. And just when we think that we know a certain way and how our body receives, a new opportunity will present itself. It's like a new doorway will come in that will say, okay, here's another way to develop it. And most of us are innately leaning one direction or another, meaning clear seeing, clear hearing, clear smelling, clear feeling, clear knowing, something like that. Like one of those is probably more easily accessible to you, but all of them can be developed. And you can also choose. As an example, for me, as a clairvoyant, as clear seeing, I don't really dabble a lot in the medium field. It happens during a lot of readings and sessions that I do for people. I will see their loved ones or their ancestors, but it's not necessarily let's say, a thread that I follow in the reading, unless they specifically asked. And a lot of times I kind of resist it. When people, if someone contacts me and says, are you a medium? My first answer will be no, but I know lots of gifted ones. I'll send you to them. It's not that I can't do that, but it isn't my preference. And the thing is that we can kind of, choose where we want to grow it. We can choose that dial that we want to turn up and down. But if this is new for you and you're just starting to bring your psychic gifts online, just know that it can be a little harder to control that dial at the beginning. Meaning you're going to crack open. You're going to do these exercises, and I'm about to give them to you. You're going to do these exercises, and then things in your field are going to start to change. And you might have more spontaneous knowings of things you're like, I didn't want to know that about that person, but I know it. I don't know what to do with it. Here it is in my field. And of course, you just process it, you breathe through it, and you release it. If it's not for you, you don't need to carry it. And that happens to me still sometimes when I'm in the process of up-leveling my gifts, or my consciousness is shifting and I'm working from altered states deeper and deeper. I'll, go out into the public or into the community, and something will just whoosh into my field, and I'll be like, oh, what is this? Is it for me? Do I share it? Do I hold it? Most of the time I don't share it if somebody has not asked, because I work on the principles of consent. When I receive information about someone that they didn't ask me to share, I don't. But there was one situation that this happened to me, and I was able to share, and it was really, really profound. I was actually at a business dinner with one of my clients that I work with in the nonprofit sector. And we were at an after hours dinner with drinks and live music. And I know my contact in that company and I are definitely friends. And at the time, friendly, right? Still in a business environment. And we were sitting next to each other at a dinner table, and I got, this whoosh of information through my body about one of her grandchildren. I mean, it came through my field powerful. In fact, I had to stop conversing at the table and completely turn my head in a different direction. I, in fact, turned my shoulders like I was looking at the band, but I wasn't. I was just letting it come in, because it was coming in, it was coming in, it was coming in. And I received all this information, and then I kind of, turned the dial down and took a couple of deep breaths and had to think about what to do with this information, because yes, I'm friends with the person next to me, but she didn't ask for a reading in the middle of this dinner, listening to live music. So I actually asked her, I have some information that I received about one of your grandchildren. Can I share it? And of course she's going to say yes. And I typically don't even recommend doing that, because nobody's going to say no when you ask them that question, because they don't know what they're saying yes or no to. So I did this knowing that I know her well enough to be able to judge if she was feeling uncomfortable. And I shared all of the information that I received, and it was something medically. And immediately she knew exactly what I was talking about, what had been going on. And she already knew everything I had told her. I didn't tell her something she didn't know, but it was confirmation for her that what was going on at the time was indeed what I had seen, because it was a very specific part of the body. So just know that sometimes it can be a little bit unasked for. It can be a little bit discombobulating to be going about your normal life and information just comes to you. And when your field is open and you haven't learned to master that dial yet, don't be surprised if information comes into your field that's not for you. In a way, it is for you. It's for you to practice. It's for you to know that you know something, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to pass it along. Especially if you're out in public and, things are coming at you left, right, and center. You're not meant to go to that person and that person and that person and give them what you share, especially if they have not asked and you are in the general public. What you'll do is just learn how to turn that dial down a notch so it can be just lowered, so it doesn't impact your ability to go about doing whatever you're doing. All right, I think that's enough caveats. Here we go. Number 1. The most important thing that you can do to develop your psychic gifts is to learn how to work from altered states. Now, altered states of consciousness can be achieved in a lot of ways. The most common way that we all know of is meditation. And meditation, true meditation, doesn't have 20 different varieties. Walking meditation or meditating while you're at the gym isn't really meditation. It's a type of altered state work, but it's not meditation. Meditation is the practice of using your breath, returning to your breath over and over again, and clearing your mind and allowing there to be nothingness. And for a lot of us, that's hard. It takes a lot of work because our minds are so busy. We are so used to letting our minds go crazy all the time, and we process that for most people, when they start meditation, they find it very difficult to actually still their mind. Even if you get really good at sitting in silence and doing breath work and holding a pose, even with a mudra in your hand, but shutting the mind off is harder. And I recommend the best way to do that is do your breath work and count your breaths. Maybe you count 100 exhales, and that's the only activity you do that day. Maybe the next day you count 105 exhales. Slow, deep breaths. And eventually you'll get good at being able to sit in that place. And by the way, when you're doing that exercise, if you lose what number you're at, just start again. You can even set a timer on your phone so you're focusing on this activity, not to get through the number of breaths, but to do it for a certain period of time where you're only focused on your breath. There are, of course, many ways to get into altered states. I teach a lot of rituals as a high priestess that are very, very, very much embodied, meaning we're doing body movements, we're speaking words, we're making symbols, we're calling in the elements, we're doing all these different things, and it's an immediate drop into altered states. And you might have that for you too. Ecstatic dance, even breath work alone can help you get into altered states. I also teach journey work. I do a lot of journeys, and I will be posting more journeys here on this channel. So make sure that you are subscribed so you get a notification when it comes out. But journey space also takes you into a trance-like state or an altered state of consciousness. And a journey is not the same as a meditation, because a meditation is meant to clear your mind and be empty, so you can be in that void. A journey is taking you to a destination to experience something very specific. So learning how to work from altered states is really important. And if you have questions about that, use the comments below and I will come in and answer them for you. Number 2, you should set intentions to awaken your psychic gifts. Whether or not you're a practicing witch and you may or may not cast spells, but set an intention. It can be just as simple as writing it out in your journal, speaking it to the universe, talking about it to yourself, speaking to yourself in the mirror. I am ready to open and receive my psychic gifts. I'm ready to open and receive my psychic gifts. I am ready to open and receive my psychic gifts. If you put an alert in your phone and you speak it 3 times, just like I did, because you'll see the 3rd time I really put my feeling and emotion into it, you will start to see shifts in your field. So set your intention to actually be able to tap into your psychic gifts. Number 3, do this work in your dream time. Lucid dreaming is a very specific way of being able to control how you're moving in your dreams. So it's almost like you're coming out of yourself, but you're in control, you're in dream time, and you can control what's happening in your dreams. So it's not necessarily that you need to lucid dream, but open yourself up to rituals, again, meditation, breath work before you go to bed, and set an intention that I want to experience the spiritual realm and my psychic gifts while I dream tonight. Try that, and of course have a journal handy in the morning for any time that you wake up and you have little bits of information that you remember. Write it down. Number 4, practice, 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 practice. It's the only way. You have to practice. And there's lots of different ways to practice your psychic gifts, and I will continue to record videos on all the different areas that you can work on. But you can just even start by, if you feel like clairvoyance or clear seeing like me is something that's more prevalent for you, you can practice your clairvoyance without actually trying to read someone else or yourself. You can do that by closing your eyes and working on your visual skills. You can close your eyes any place, anytime, and recreate the entire environment that you're sitting, standing. Well, you can't be driving and close your eyes, but sitting and standing, recreate it in your mind's eye with your eyes closed, every last detail. That visualization work is practice. If you want to develop your clear smelling, because this is so common, this is happening a lot right now, specifically this year, is clear smelling is coming online. People are randomly smelling different scents that have representations of their ancestors or of a spirit in their house. This is very, very common. And to work on that, to practice that, lay out 5 of the most fragrant foods that you know of. Preferably fruits and vegetables to start, or it can be essential oils, or it can be your favorite perfumes, anything. More natural is better. But set out 5 of your favorite scents and mix them all up if you can, or put a dollop on a piece of paper if you can. Mix them all up, close your eyes and smell it, and then speak aloud. This is what an orange smells like. That is practice. So practicing your human senses, because all of our psychic gifts are experienced in our human body. So practicing your human senses, like turning up your human senses, is what actually activates your psychic senses. So when I say practice, and you don't necessarily know anything about your own psychic gifts yet, start practicing your human senses. Sit outside with your eyes closed and listen and see what you can hear. Close your eyes. Recreate your visual field. Practice your smelling, practice your feeling and your knowing. All in your human body. That is practice. And then number 5, record everything. See, even just watching this video and listening to this is going to create a change in your field. You will likely start to notice and pay attention when something different happens, and you'll be like, oh, what was that? Did I do that? Did somebody else do that? Is that real? I don't know. Write it down. Write it all down. And then number 6, and this is kind of a bonus one, I recommend that morning and night you practice doing your own energetic hygiene. Because the more that you start to bring in and turn on your psychic gifts, the more you're going to feel changes in your own energy field. It can be a little bit tiring. It can sometimes feel very expansive and like so exciting, and you get hot. Like it's very common to get super hot when you're bringing information into your body. And over time, this can kind of just build up and we don't release it. So grounding morning and night to make sure that you are releasing, removing. You can shake, you can dance, you can put your bare feet on the earth, you can use breath work again. And meditation is naturally grounding. Not only will it help you work from altered states, but it will also help you come back into this present moment. There are so many benefits to meditating, and I know that I don't need to tell you that, because if you're alive on the planet today, then you already know this to be true. All right, so I invite you to put your divination tools aside for now. So if you traditionally work with tarot or oracle cards or pendulums or runes or any divination tool that you work with, those tools are actually just an extension of your own psychic energy. And they're great. I mean, you can see I have divination tools all around me. I use them every day. But I know that I'm the magic. The tool is just the extension of me. So if you feel like you're just bringing your psychic gifts online, then I recommend you put the tools aside and focus just on your own inner magic. All right, drop your questions below and make sure you check out Extraordinary. This program is going to blow your mind at what's possible. And comment and subscribe, and I will see you soon.